Hi, how are you doing? I decided to today to show you how I was achieving the cushion cover that I was making with all the little lines and grooves. Okay, because there's quite a few of you that have like messaged me and left messages on the pages of Instagram and Facebook. Just kind of go, well, how have you done that? And that's really effective. So yeah, it's really quite simple but effective, which is what we always like. So this is the equipment that I'm going to use. Okay, so here we go. So it's literally with pin tuck feet. I'll take one off the machine. Okay, so the pin tuck feet, it comes as a set of two. This is the Journey ones. Okay, so it comes as a set of two. You get the shallower one, which is up to about 1.5 millimeters in the depth. So you've got all these like little grooves through. And then the one that I'm using, you can get up to 2.5 millimeter depth of the groove through there. And then what I'm doing as well is using it with some piping cord. Okay, so this is just a 3mm piping cord, and that goes on the reverse of the fabric. And you simply then, a little bit like piping, you go over the top and it forms these ridges. And this is like the back view of it. Okay, so I'm getting that a little bit closer. So you can see that the bobbin just catches across the back of there, and it's using a twin needle. So twin needles will come in different sizes, if you can see here. So this is a 2.5mm twin needle. You can get them wider as well if you want to, but obviously because we're using the 3mm cording, that's what I'm using on these. And then to get my first line, I decided, so I've cut the front of the cushion cover bigger than I actually want it. So from the straight line edge I'm using, so from the one edge, I then chalk lined in a 3-inch line. So this chalk will go. So I've just used my quilt ruler and I've done a 3-inch line, taken that across. Okay, and then we simply are going to put the piping cord. So if I can bring this round, we're going to put the piping cord behind. So we're going to have a bit of a tail behind that line. You could, if you wanted to, you could iron in that line as well. So I'm just going to anchor that with a pin. And then with your machine to be set up, you're going to have it on a straight stitch, and you actually lengthen up your, you tighten up your top thread tension. So I've taken mine up to about a 7, and you can leave it on a normal stitch length, but I generally tend to like to actually take mine up to about a 2.8. But you can, the idea is that you actually have a small stitch, tight thread, and that's what really sort of draws it up. So you don't always have to use a cord in it if you don't want to. So if you do really small, tight little stitches, it will draw up and make that sort of channel and that little pin tuck, which is really lovely. So if we just line this through here, and then the first one is just keeping it going in between. On the pin, I like it on the sink needle so I can keep re-altering it through. I'm just holding the cord just gently in between the fingers and letting that run through. Yeah, and it really is such a simple effect, and I've done 4 piping rows of these, and then I've done on the working across the other direction. I've then again drawn a 3-inch line down, across, started off, and that's where you get that lovely crossovers in the top right corner. Going over the cord when it's in the opposite direction is absolutely great. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't, you don't have to worry about it at all. Okay, so that's my first row through there. Again, you can press it through if you want to. Bring my tails. So for the next one, so generally when you're pin tucking, you would actually sit the groove, the row on top, so it would sit in the groove. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer in for you. There we go. So yeah, so normally you would sit, yeah, and then your next row of pin tucks would sit next to it, or you could choose to have it a little bit wider, so you'd sit it across onto the next groove, or if you wanted it on the other side, again, you would sit it in that groove. What I've done for this one is I've actually run it the actual width, so it's about a 1/4 of an inch, I would say. Just a little bit, yeah, it's just a little bit thicker than a 1/4. Yeah, it's about 1/4 of an inch of where that second needle is going to be falling, yeah, through. So that's what gives that effect through there, gives the spacing. So I get my next piece of piping, lead the piece, the tail out, put the side to it, and then try not to get my hand too much into the way. There we go. And just a hand wheel just to anchor that into place. So again, I've then got the ridge of my piping cord, and just a little bit out there, but that's going to be into the seam allowance. Sit, and we're away. There we go. So it's sat nicely in that centre channel. Sink the needle, and away we go. So you can see it's quite quick. It doesn't take you very long to get these cushion fronts done. So this is my third one, and I'm doing 3 of these. I've done 3 piped ones and 3 Oxford cornered ones, all in different shades of golds. So this should look really quite effective when they're all together. There we go. So we've done the first 4 rows through there, and then, as I say, we then draw a 3-inch line. So using the 3-inch marker along the base of the fabric, 3-inch, just a fine liner, so get that all nice and level. There we go, and then we can just draw in over the top. So I've already put most of that in. Okay, and then we're ready then to come down this side. All right, so something that I didn't go through is if you're not familiar with using a twin needle, okay, the twin needle literally is the same. Camera in a little bit there. So it's 2 needles on 1 shank, okay, and that just fits into your needle holder the same, okay, and then we're running 2 spools threads from the top, and I can't lift my thread head at the moment. There we go. So you can see we're running a single thread, and then I've just decanted it onto a bobbin, okay, and then you just thread your machine in exactly the same way, okay, all the way through. So you thread up with the 1 needle, with the 1 thread going into the one side exactly the same, and then you do the same with your second thread, but this time I just didn't hook it around the needle bar holder, okay. So it's just in that bit, I've just got the 1 thread, and it just stops it from getting twisted. on there. Okay. You'll have to excuse, I'm just practicing with this new technology. But we're getting there, we're getting there. So again, I'm just going to place that cord underneath pink line, straddle the centre over the top. Might need a little bit of wiggling. We'll get there, and this is going to be in the seam allowance anyway, so I'm not sort of too worried. And I've got, as I say, I cut the piece a little bit bigger, so I've got some wiggle room. Why is it always goes in first time when you're not filming yourself, and then when you start filming yourself, that's when you get those pieces. Okay, so just needs a little bit of that's it, and we're off again. So you can see I'm coming up towards these ridges, but it doesn't pose, last famous words, it doesn't pose any problems. Go over the top, tension underneath, and then just line back up. Just check that through. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. No problem. So just always make sure that your markings will rub off. So I do find one of the blue chalk pencils that just tend to stain quite a bit. But it's just to get you going on that first line. So I say it's such a simple effect with these feet, but it really is effective, and you can put this into your dressmaking if you've got pin tucks as well, so you could do it on blouse details, collars. Let's get rid of these squiggly ends. So sometimes we have feet attachments and we don't always use them. You may have had some given to you, or your machine may have come with them. But I love a good gadget, and I love a good foot attachment. So when you read up and you think, oh, I'm going to need one of them, you might not use it too often, but when you do, it's like, yeah. Full effects. I'm just going to ease that over, just help it along a little bit. Yep, and then get my cord back into place. I'm just keeping an eye on that the right hand side of the foot is sat along the ridge of the previous line. Just helps to keep the space in. Okay, and I'm just keeping my fingernails either side of that piping cord. Realign. So just work in small areas. Yeah. There we go then. So they're all done. I think you'll agree that they are really effective. As I say, I cut the square that little bit bigger, and I will take this edge and this edge as my true sizing, and then square from there. So these cushion covers are going to be 19-inch square, with a finished size of 18 inches because I've put half-inch seam allowances on them. I've already got the back all done with my zip inserted, so they will go together once I've overlocked those. So you can see that through here I gave myself a lot of excess, a bit of wiggle room to play with. So as I say, I can then just square those up, and that will be my finished result. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. As I say, it's just like a nice little thing to take decorative edge onto it, so you could put it on placemats, your tablecloths, you could put it on garments, you could put it into your bag making, just literally from one little foot attachment and a twin needle, and a little bit of piping cord. It's amazing what you could do. Okay, have a lovely evening. See you soon.